These children grew in your stomach. You watch them grow every day. How do you get to the point where you say, you know what, I don't want to go on in this life, and I also don't want you guys to go on to this life. So I'm going to make this decision for all of us where we will all die.
Spousal revenge. I'm angry with my ex-husband or boyfriend, the father of the child, because they've left me, because they're not supporting me, because they've had an affair. And to punish that person, I am going to kill this person's child.
It strikes me that a parent can be accused of killing her 4 kids.
When a young woman from Mpumalanga killed her 4 children, the country was in shock. She had poisoned her 4 kids after a fight with her boyfriend. There were so many questions, and most of them were left unanswered, but she quickly handed herself to the police and the case was concluded. But it brought to light some of the issues that the country still needs to deal with around filicide. And there are still some questions that need to be answered, like whether somebody like Zintle Maditla could ever be rehabilitated and reintegrated back into society once she is out of jail. How could somebody who was supposed to nurture and protect her kids be the source of their pain?
She was an outgoing person, caring person. Her upbringing life was normal, like a normal kid will be. She just had kids on an early age, which maybe I can say was a mistake. She loved being a mom. She loved the kids, and she was there for the kids. Each time they needed something, she would try and find it, try being there for the kids. Although sometimes she couldn't, but she'll not just give up and say, I can't, but she'll go out of her way to make plans for kids to have something or to have that thing. So I'll say she was a good mom. Yeah, there were times that you'll talk to my wife, and she'll tell my wife, you know, life is hard. And then she'll talk to some of the family members, but it took long to realize there were signs there. Yes, there were signs there that she was depressed and she needed some help. Yeah, Mama was helping her wherever she could help her, you see. But even the father of the 2 kids helped her also. So there was money generating, but not as much as you can say you can support the family with this money. But they never went to bed, maybe hungry. So Mom did help her in a way. I can say, this is my kid, this is my grandkids. I need to be there for my kids and my grandkids. So her mother did help her wherever she can help her.
I remember speaking to her uncle just a few days after the story had gone nationwide, and he was saying that as a family, she was so loving. She did everything for the children. Whatever they needed, she was always there to provide for them. She was loving, she was warm, she was kind. She sacrificed so much to ensure that they were happy. So to have that one version of Zintle, and then there's this version now that's presented with the facts where they say she fed the children rat poison and watched them die.
We were all together Christmas Day, there by my other sister-in-law. We were sitting there with the kids and stuff like that. My family from home came to visit me, so I went to my in-laws' house. Then we were there with Zintle and the kids. Then the next day, my family went back home and my in-laws went back to their home. Zintle stayed behind where we were at the rent house. So Zintle stayed behind with me, with the kids and stuff like that. So at night, me, I'm alone, I'm sleeping. See, I don't know Zintle's not there. The kids were crying there. So me, I'm also like, from yesterday I was drunk. See, I don't take note the kids are crying. So the neighbor called me. Come check the kids are crying here, you see. So the door was locked. We couldn't see the door was locked. So we opened the curtain. The kids were crying. So I called my wife. Tell your mother, let me leave the kids alone here. Where is she? See, and me, I'm sleeping. Tomorrow I'm going to work. So we called in-laws. They tried to find her. They did find her on the phone. They called her. She came back. So when she came back, she put them in the blanket, make things right. I saw her. Then she left again. So we thought everything is fine now. So me, I go to bed. I sleep. In the morning, I go to work. As I go to work, I come back. It's the first day after the incident now. Nothing, nobody noticed anything. It's like a third day. They're arranging, the family getting arranging another gathering. So they said, no, let's pass by Clarinet and take Zintle with us so we can go with her. So, and in that way, they find her. You see, but before they knew there were like incidents because they started to smell and there were flies. So the neighbor said, Maneshmi, come see your place there. There's some smell and stuff like that. So she said, no, there's a rotten meat I put there and stuff like that. So we never take it seriously because she had a way to like, not ask for, you see. Already she knew what she did. It's like a third day. Fourth day, they were starting to get around what's going on though. So a brother and my brother-in-law, they came, they break the door down. That's where they find the little ones already gone.
She had 4 kids. She was staying with the father of the last 2 kids. And they had a quarrel like any other couple, and the father moved out. And she went to visit the father. When she arrived at the father's premises, she then realized that there was another girlfriend, and that's what made her angry.
And instead for him protecting the mother of his kid, protected the, so that broke her down. You see, because if I come to you as my girlfriend, you protect somebody else instead of me, you give birth to your kids and stuff like that. That broke her. I believe it maybe push her over the edge.
She then took a taxi, went to town, bought the red poison, and took another taxi, go to her place. She got to her place, prepare food for the kids, obviously with the poison, and fed these kids the food. You know, she left them at some point during that night when they were starting to complain about headaches, and she just said they must lie on the bed, left them there, and went out partying, came back in the morning, cleaned their faces, and still continued to party until the discovery was made.
In that moment, after the children had taken their last breaths, and she realized now that, look, the only person that I have to take care of me is me. Let me go live this life that she probably wanted because she was still very young. Let me try and live this life as a young single woman. Go out and party, do all the things, just go drink and live this free life like my peers in my age group are doing. And then maybe one day of that will turn into 2 days of that. And then eventually this new life that she thinks she'll have for herself will work out. But I think once people realized that the children were missing, eventually turned up dead, the police did their investigations and they were like, you've done A, B, C, and D. For her, in her head, she was going, this is a solution to my problems. But now you're realizing that you've created much bigger problems by just not being able to say, I need help. The community was absolutely shocked. I don't think there's a single person who could say, Zintle on this day had given us a warning that this might be coming. Yes, she struggled. Yes, it wasn't easy for her to be a single parent, but I don't think anyone could have predicted that her solution to the problems that she's having in terms of being a single mother would be taking the lives of her children.
She was strong for a long time. She tried to hang in there, and I guess it was too much for her at the end of the day.
It struck me that a parent can be accused of killing her 4 kids. So it was a bit not strange, but hard to swallow that a parent can murder her own kids.
I won't say I actually know why. She alone knows why. Why did she do it? I just know she was very much upset and she saw no way out. And she took a way out that was not the right way.
It seems, out of the motives that we know typically are frequent for this type of crime, the one of spousal revenge is perhaps the most logical one that fits this case. She was upset with him for not being present, the father of the child not supporting financially, and she felt, well, I'm not going to do this, and perhaps as a punishment towards him, she then kills the children. If you think about it, it's perhaps one of the ultimate punishments or pain you can inflict upon another human being.
Do we start to examine what was going through Zintle's mind, what pressures she felt, why she feels she couldn't turn to anyone for some sort of resolution?
After she did this, before she hand herself over, she tried to commit suicide by doing the same thing. But when arrived at the police station, she confessed the whole story, and she told them, I also drank the poison, and then the police rushed her to hospital. I guess in that way she survived.
Once the kids were gone, and she realized that unfortunately her problems were also gone, everybody is so closely connected to her. Her family are nearby, her friends are nearby. She couldn't just run away from that truth, because you can't walk away without any consequences, especially when the people that you have hurt is people that depended on you.
What we did initially, we then sent her for mental observation.
Zintle's lawyer, Jabulani Mapete, submitted that she could not have been in a right state of mind when the alleged offence was committed and asked the court to send his client for mental evaluation.
We obtained a report from a psychiatrist who said that she was mentally fit to stand trial. She is the mother of these kids, and in an ordinary case, we will expect the mother to be the one who shows a lot of emotion because someone else has murdered her own kids. She came across as someone who's emotionless. You couldn't see the pain in her eyes of what she has just done.
I think the problem with these types of murders is they're not frequent, so we don't quite know why necessarily one person who does it, where there's hundreds of other people who've been in similar types of scenarios, backgrounds, circumstances, and they didn't go and kill a child. And if you think of it, mental health doesn't suddenly appear. So someone doesn't suddenly at the age of 30 or 40 suddenly become mentally ill and suddenly kill people. So typically people, when they're trying to fake mental health, it's very easy to pick it up, and there is no documented history and lead up into the mental health behavior that you would see in a genuine mental health case.
Despite being declared mentally fit for trial, conversation around Zintle's mental well-being continued.
In terms of mental health, I think it's very hard because she comes from a low-income area where it's not like she can walk down the street, walk into a psychiatrist's office and get some help. And also, what are the signs that people look for? Because we don't grow up as Black people in a society where they go, if someone's feeling depressed, they do A, B, C, and D. If they're feeling suicidal, these are the things to look out for. So for one person in a learned environment where they're going, oh, Zintle, you can tell by the fact that she was unemployed, was living alone, was raising 4 children by herself. These are all contributing factors to depression. But for the kind of community that she comes from, they may be looking at her and going, if she finds a job, all of her problems will be solved. But it's not that simple.
So clearly that tells you that at the time, she had no issues mentally. There was nothing wrong basically with her. She could appreciate what she was doing at the time.
After pleading guilty to the murder of her 4 children, Zintle finally broke her silence when she was given the opportunity to address the court. She pleaded for forgiveness from the mother and later also apologized to the fathers of her children.
Kangang ukuthi yena vele bengimbuka njengomama abantwana but yena at the end ubuye wababulala, so angazi.
She didn't really want to have eye contact with people. She would get to the accused dog and she would kneel down and cover her face. So it was very difficult to, judge her until it was her time to give evidence. Her plea, or being found guilty, she had then to convince the court to deviate. And that's where, according to the court's finding, she did not do that. She did not provide facts that can persuade it to deviate from imposing the life imprisonment.
The most aggravating factor in this matter is that the accused is the biological mother of these children. These innocent children were the victims. These children trusted like any other child in their mother. And when they were hungry, they believed that she'll provide for them. And when she gave them food, she intentionally gave them food that was contaminated with the intention to kill them. She betrayed her own children. And as a result, these young, little, innocent children suffered a horrible death. Under the circumstances, I am of the considered view that the life imprisonment on each of the murder counts is the appropriate sentence.
My view is, firstly, she admitted to these offenses. And the sentence that was imposed on her is ordinarily the sentence that is imposed to any other person who has committed these offenses. And I remember very well, I asked her, according to her views, what type of sentence should this court impose? And she said, I deserve life imprisonment. She has all the time in the world to reflect. I still maintain during arguments and when I was having a chance to cross-examine that, but you had a chance to change your mind. You had all the time in the world to decide to stop what you wanted to do. I said, no, you had to wait for a taxi from your boyfriend's place to town, which she said it took about 10 minutes. She bought the poison. She had to spend another 10 minutes on another taxi going home. She fed the kids the poison. They didn't die immediately. They still went out to play outside. And I remember she even said at some point, I forgot that I had given them poison. It only came back, or she only remembered when one of them came complaining about a headache or so, something like that. And again, I said to her, you could have asked for help. You could have taken them to hospital. But you decided that they must rather lie on top of the bed and wait for their death there.
I-anger yona ngibe nayo ngisaqala because I was shocked ukuthi vele lo muntu uyenzile vele lapho bengifisa ukumbuza ukuthi vele uyenzile lento le. Yabona. Kuzoya kuya ngisumuntu amagcuku nayo uyazi vele. Ngisumuntu amagcuku ivele into noma ngabe khona ngiyakhuluma endlini. But yena kwamanje no dread ukuthi ngambona nje. Khuluma naye.
When this thing happened, we were angry and stuff like that, but we could have forgive her, but as time goes, we realized that there's no point in being angry at her and stuff like that, but we were shocked and angry at the time. Heartbroken she is. Yeah, she is heartbroken and sad, but we told her the reality, life moves on. You did something, there's nothing you're going to do about it. You just have to move on. You're still alive. You still have to love your own life. But as long as you acknowledge what you've done was wrong, live your life. Who knows, maybe you can come back.
If you are in a situation, speak out, seek help. I think the one thing that we can probably take from this Zintle situation is the fact that she may have felt alone, but the next person who's reading that story, who's watching the news, who's hearing her testimony, and you can say, oh, that's what I feel, rather than turning inwards towards you and going, there's no way out. Actually go out, look for help.
Let it do time. Let's see, does she get rehabilitated? And see, does it change as a person? If yes, why not? You see, I believe that because, as I said, we all deserve second chances in life and try to rectify, even though we can't rectify what we did, but and move on with life, yeah.